Hello, Gary Hernandez here, and welcome to Cane Self-Defense with Master Gary Hernandez. In this cane video tip, I'm going to show you a simple way to kind of catch yourself if you're starting to trip forward a little bit. Now, this also depends on how you're physically doing. So you want to make sure that you don't have any major injuries for this to really work, or it could hurt you a little bit more if you do have some injuries, especially in the hip area. Now, if you're walking and you start to trip and you try to catch yourself and use your cane, if your cane is off your body a little bit, like this, you're not going to have a very good balance of supporting your weight, and you're going to kind of feel it in your shoulder area. So I'm going to lower the cane a little bit I'm going to lower the camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing and where I'm positioning the cane if I trip. So I start to trip and I go forward, and if you notice, I caught it around my hip area, and what I did was my cane is on top of my crook. As I started to trip, I brought the cane forward, planted it kind of at an angle, and used it almost like a tripod, and I caught myself with my arm and my hand. I kind of supported my hip area. And if you notice the way my feet are, it's almost like a tripod. As I started to trip, the back leg is here, this one leg goes here, and then my cane kind of supported me here. So simple, boom. Again, if you have a bad hip, you don't want to be landing on your hip. But if you happen to start walking and you trip a bit, it'll help kind of stop you, as long as the ground's not super slippery. If you have a slick ground or some soft dirt, you might go deeper into it. Slick ground, it may slide out from under you. So it does affect kind of where you're at. So you gotta, practice a little bit with it in different areas. I don't want to kind of trip and do that, because notice that I kind of went forward even a little bit more than I was kind of not trying to do. And I can feel that tension on my shoulder as this started to slip out. Basically, I would have busted my rear a lot easier. So as I tripped, I kind of catch myself here. Again, I'll show you from a side angle. I kind of trip, and that kind of stops me and supports my weight. And again, I'm not letting the cane itself do it. My hand and wrist are kind of locking in my hip area, and I'm holding the cane, which is at an angle. So basically, from here, my feet look like this, and the cane, so I'm kind of like a tripod. Two here, one back here, supported me. It's a good way to stop yourself without going left or right too much. Again, you're sitting here, I'll go a little faster, I start to trip, and I catch myself. Now, again, if you have a bad hip, I don't suggest doing that, because you're going to end up probably hurting your hip. Just make sure, practice like this a little bit. Kind of put your cane out, lean into it, and then put that foot out. Put your cane out, lean into it, put that foot out. If you're falling full speed forward, it's probably not going to help you. You're just going to bust your butt anyway if you're going that fast and that hard. But if you get a little trip going, it'll stop you and kind of support you. Again, make sure your wrist is not injured. If you have a bad wrist, I don't suggest doing this. If you have bad hips, I don't suggest putting a lot of weight on your hip. So those are the two factors I would worry about. Again, practice it real slow. Just step out, put your cane, and put it right in your hip. Don't put it on your stomach. Don't put it down by your leg, because it's going to slip out. Kind of put it where your hip bends. So kind of like that. And then practice on this side too, and catch yourself. Start off slow, make sure you're in a decent area. Then you're going to want to, once you feel you have it down, you're going to want to try it gently and slowly. Try it in the grass, try it in the asphalt, on the concrete, on carpet. Just try it in different areas, so if you do slip, because you know what? Because if you knew where you were going to slip, you wouldn't slip. So hopefully that tip helps. Again, that's not for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody, but it is something that you can try to work on. Gary Hernandez, thank you, and I will see you guys real soon.